The chandelier in the White Family Country Club dining room catches the afternoon sun perfectly, scattering fractured rainbows across mahogany furniture worth more than most people's cars. I noticed dust particles drifting through Eleanor's cloud of Chanel No. 5. Following the maitre d' to the so-called family table, his knowing smile hints at impending bad news served with fine wine. Arthur checks his Rolex for the third time in 30 seconds before I even sit down. Eleanor adjusts her pearls with the precise, practiced motion of someone accustomed to mirrors. Meredith angles her iPhone like a budding filmmaker, her smile sharp enough to wound. Everyone is in place, each person performing their rehearsed role in the intervention. Eleanor's voice softens with that particular warmth reserved for persuasion. "You look lovely, darling. I'm wearing the same gray sweater from last Tuesday." She didn't notice then either. The maitre d' pulls out a chair facing all three of them, as if I'm about to defend a dissertation before a hostile committee. The leather creaks. A pan clatters in the kitchen. Ordinary sounds. In an extraordinary moment, Eleanor slides a slim velvet box across the table, the type usually reserved for jewelry. She positions it precisely between the salt and pepper shakers, perfectly aligned with the table's edge. "A fresh start, darling. We think you'll adore Austin." I open it. Inside, a one-way plane ticket. Departure in 48 hours. Arthur places a check beside it with exacting precision. "Your seed capital, Rebecca. $5,000. Use it wisely." The check is already signed and dated, printed before my arrival. Meredith adjusts her phone slightly, capturing my face in optimal light. Her Yale Law Review editor smile broadens. She has anticipated this moment, likely pre-planned the filter for her post. I recognize the performance, synchronized movements, rehearsed lines. Months of planning, expecting my reaction on cue. My mind drifts back to last year's White Family Charity Gala at the Ritz-Carlton. I come straight from TerraSense field testing, hiking boots still dusty, assuming work would outweigh appearances. Harrison Blackwood, Arthur's key client, intercepted me near the champagne fountain, his laugh cutting through the string quartet. "Arthur, I didn't know you hired the garden staff for your parties," I said. Arthur's face went pale. Later, Eleanor gripped my elbow, leaving marks. "You humiliated this family, Rebecca. It will not happen again." That was the moment they decided. The Austin exile was set, crystallized in that glance exchanged over champagne flutes. The pattern began much earlier. At 8, Meredith's piano recital coincided with my science fair, where I won first place with a working water filtration system made from household materials. Miss Peterson called it the most advanced project in 20 years. "Rebecca understands sacrifice," Arthur told me on the drive to Meredith's recital. My trophy stayed home. I understood sacrifice. Debate teams canceled for Meredith's mock trial, internships declined for family obligations, my environmental science degree framed as charity while her Yale acceptance was celebrated in the dining room. I understood I was the daughter who never quite fit. Eleanor watches, expecting tears. Arthur reaches for his water, ready with a tough love speech. Meredith's thumb hovers over the record button. I let the silence stretch, letting them savor the moment, letting them believe they've won. "Thank you." My voice stays steady. Controlled. "I'll be careful with it." Arthur's shoulders slump. Eleanor's smile finally feels genuine. The Rebecca problem is resolved. Meredith's disappointment flashes across her face. No tears for her video. No drama for her Instagram story. I fold the check carefully, crease it once, and slide it into my purse. The paper is thick. Expensive. The kind of check Arthur uses for serious transactions. They don't know about the wire transfer, $8,500,000, confirmed just 48 hours ago. Sitting in my account while they hand me $5,000 like it's a fortune. They don't know that Julian Vance, CEO of AgriCorp, called me personally. That Professor Kalin forwarded my recovery data to the AgTech Summit. That their daughter, the one who doesn't quite fit, built something worth buying. Arthur lifts his wine glass. To fresh starts. I raise my water glass and smile. Let them think it's gratitude. It's not. 6 months before the velvet box and the Austin ticket, I sat in Professor Kalin's Stanford office while he tore apart my TerraSense proposal with the precision of a surgeon removing a tumor. "The idea's fine, Rebecca." He tapped his pen against my printed presentation. 3 months of work condensed into 18 stapled pages. But the data was weak. This is just a class project. The fluorescent lights hummed overhead. Someone's coffee maker beeped down the hall. Normal sounds in a moment that felt like falling. I expected questions. Concerns about methodology. Scalability. Not outright dismissal. What would make it more than an application? Proof that the algorithm works outside a controlled environment. He slid the proposal back across the desk. Right now you have theory. Investors want results. I walked back to my apartment through campus, past students celebrating finals, past the coffee shop where Meredith and I used to study before she transferred to Yale. The proposal felt heavier in my backpack than it should. Theory. Just a class project. I had heard those words all my life. From Arthur when I chose environmental science over economics, from Eleanor when I explained carbon sequestration instead of wedding venues like Meredith, from every family dinner where my research faded behind Meredith's latest achievement. But Professor Kalin wasn't family. He had no stake in my failure, which meant he was right. For the next 3 weeks, I lived in the university library, surviving on vending machine food, coffee, and the kind of determination that comes from being underestimated your whole life. The Callaway Innovation grant application required 12 pages that I gave them 30. They asked for 1 recommendation letter. I delivered 4. They wanted a budget breakdown. I created a full financial projection model. The acceptance email arrived at 2 a.m. $75,000. I called home from the empty lab, too excited to wait until morning. Eleanor answered on the 4th ring. That's nice, dear. Her voice was distant, distracted. Listen, Meredith just made the Yale Law Review. Can you believe it? She's the youngest editor in 15 years. Mom, I won the Callaway grant. It's one of the most competitive. That's wonderful, Rebecca. I need to go. Your father is on the other line with the Yale Alumni Association. The click of disconnection echoed in Stanford's empty lab. The fluorescent lights hummed. My laptop screen glowed with the acceptance email. $75,000 of validation, but it felt small next to Meredith's latest achievement. I looked at my TerraSense proposal, 3 weeks of sleepless work, proof I could create something tangible. Then I got to work. The grant money went to an outsourced development team in Bangalore, selected after weeks of interviews. Every contract ensured I retained sole ownership of the intellectual property. Every line of code was documented, time-stamped, and backed up in triplicate. I hired David Morrison, a part-time data analyst who worked evenings and weekends while teaching high school physics. Together, we pieced together the sensor network. One evening, Professor Kalin stopped by and found me buried in calibration protocols. You're serious about this? You said I needed field data. I'm getting field data, I said without looking up from my laptop. 3 months later, I launched a pilot program on a small family farm outside Fresno, a third-generation operation willing to try an unproven system from a Stanford student promising better irrigation efficiency. The algorithm went live on a Tuesday morning in March. By Thursday afternoon, I realized something was wrong. Soil moisture readings fluctuated wildly. The irrigation schedule triggered incorrectly. I watched from my laptop as 30% of the test crop drowned underwater my system insisted was necessary. The farmer's voice stayed level when he called. Controlled, the kind of control that comes from watching your livelihood fail in real time. We're shutting it down, Rebecca. Give me 48 hours. I can fix this. You've had 3 months. The crop doesn't get 48 hours. I sat in the lab surrounded by failure data, watching my grant money pour into a flooded field outside Fresno. Every sensor reading, every irrigation trigger, every algorithmic decision that had destroyed the harvest. Arthur's voicemail arrived that evening. He had heard about the farm through his network. Of course he had. Bad news travels fast in circles where reputation outweighs recovery. Rebecca, it's your father. I heard about your little agricultural experiment. Perhaps it's time to consider something more suitable. Give me a call. His tone was calm. Not surprised, he sounded relieved. Eleanor's text arrived shortly after. Darling, there's no shame in trying. Not everyone is cut out for entrepreneurship. Then came Meredith, 3 crying laughing emojis, followed by, heard you drown some vegetables. I switched off my phone and opened the failure logs. I began reading through 3 months of code, thousands of lines of predictive modeling, until I found the error. It was the mistake that had cost a farmer 30% of his crop and validated every dismissive comment my family had ever made about me. The lab became my home for the next 3 weeks. I ordered Thai food I never ate, brewed coffee I forgot to drink, and slept only 2 hours in my desk chair, waking with sensor specifications etched into my cheek. At 2:30 a.m. on a Wednesday, I found the flaw, a single line in the moisture prediction algorithm. A variable initialization error, so small, yet so devastating that I almost respected it. I rebuilt the system from scratch, and the new algorithm ran 40% more efficiently than my original projections. The recovery data revealed something unexpected: system resilience. The platform could detect its own errors, adapt, and improve. I emailed the updated analysis to Professor Kalin at 4 a.m. An hour later, his reply came: conference room, 9 a.m., bring everything. I arrived carrying 3 months of recovery data. He studied it silently for 7 minutes, then picked up his phone. "I'm getting you a presentation slot at the AgTech Summit," he said. "Don't make me regret this." Julie and Van sat in the third row during my presentation, taking notes as I explained how catastrophic failure had led to a stronger system, how the recovery logs demonstrated adaptive resilience, and how TerraSense had transformed from functional to revolutionary. 2 days later, his technical team called, for senior engineers scrutinizing every line of code, every data point, every projection. I had spent 6 months documenting everything, each decision, setback, and breakthrough. Those records became my most valuable asset. Within 24 hours, the acquisition offer arrived, $8,500,000, and the role of Director of Sustainable Development at AgriCorp's Chicago headquarters. I saved the wire transfer confirmation but told no one, not Professor Kalin, not David Morrison, certainly not my family. The secret felt like power, a tangible proof of what they had never believed I could create. Dessert arrived in a crystal dish that caught the light and reflected it like tiny accusations. Creme brulee, my favorite according to Eleanor, though I despised its texture since I was 12. I had always pushed it around my plate at family dinners, creating patterns in the burnt sugar instead of eating. I lifted my spoon. The sugar cracked with a sound that seemed too loud in the quiet of our table. Arthur leans back in his chair, the leather creaking under his weight. He moves into speech mode. I noticed the familiar ritual, adjusting cufflinks, then collar, the same one he follows before client presentations. "Rebecca, your mother and I have thought this through carefully," he begins. His voice carries that unmistakable authority, the kind that commands attention and closes discussions. Sometimes, tough love is the most valuable gift a parent can give. You need to forge your own path, free from the weight of family expectations. The irony is sharp, almost laughable, if only it weren't so fitting. Family expectations are the only things they've ever truly given me. Eleanor dabs at her eyes with a napkin that could cost $40. Her tears are deliberate, precise, enough to glimmer without smudging her mascara. "We want the best for you, darling. A fresh start where you can discover who you're truly meant to be. Who I'm meant to be." As if I haven't already discovered that in a Stanford lab at 3 a.m, rewriting code until my eyes burned. As if I haven't already become who I am meant to be, and they simply couldn't see it. Meredith's smile widens. She no longer hides her satisfaction. Her phone sits openly on the table, recording, capturing every angle of my supposed defeat. Later, she'll edit it, add a soundtrack, something about family, second chances, and inspiration. "This is exactly what I needed," I say softly, genuinely. "Thank you for seeing what I couldn't see myself." Arthur's shoulders relax. Eleanor reaches across the table, patting my hand, her diamond rings cool against my skin. Inside my head, I calculate. They're $5,000 versus my $8.5 million. Their country club dues versus my Director of Sustainable Development salary. Their meticulously staged intervention versus the wire transfer confirmation sitting in my inbox, dated 2 days before this dinner. I've already won. They're just too wrapped up in the performance to notice. The waiter refills water glasses. Laughter from a nearby table drifts over. Life continues around us while my family scripts my supposed exile, unaware that I'm 3 moves ahead in a game they don't even know exists. There's power in this silence. Strength in letting them believe their own narrative. 23 years of trying to prove myself to people who would never notice, now over. I don't have to prove anything. I'm free. They handed me freedom in a velvet box, complete with a plain ticket inside. Meredith's phone buzzes. She glances down, her smile sharpening. Posted, she murmurs, loud enough for me to hear. Her fingers move with practiced speed. My phone vibrates in my purse. Once. Twice. 10 rapid times. The family WhatsApp is exploding. I know without looking what Meredith posted. Clips from tonight, edited strategically to make me appear lost and then magnanimous. A caption about fresh starts and family support. Maybe a prayer hands emoji. Responses flood in. I can already picture cousin Bradley recommending me at my Austin firm. Marketing could be perfect for her. Aunt Patricia, teaching. Maybe something simple really is the right choice. Uncle James. These young people need direction. Good for you, Arthur. The family storyline forming right in front of us. Rebecca the disappointment. Rebecca the hopeless case. Rebecca rescued by family generosity. My phone vibrates again, different rhythm this time. A text, not WhatsApp. I wait until Eleanor excuses herself to greet someone across the room. Until Arthur gets absorbed in a conversation about interest rates with a colleague walking by. Until Meredith becomes occupied with her own social media engagement metrics. Then I check. Professor Kalin. Heard about AgriCore. Don't let anyone dim this light. I close my eyes. Then open them. The country club chandelier still sparkles. The creme brulee still sits half-eaten on expensive china. Another text arrives. Marcus Chun. Chicago's lucky to have you. Drinks when you get here. Then another. A number I don't recognize, though the signature makes it obvious. Apartment viewing schedule attached. Welcome to the team. Julian Vance's office. 2 phones. 2 realities. One for the performance. One for what's true. The Whites are still managing my narrative on the family WhatsApp. Still posting, commenting, reshaping my story into something they can control. Still presenting me as the family project, the one who needed fixing. Meanwhile, AgriCore legal team is finalizing my employment contract. My Chicago apartment overlooks Lake Michigan. Professor Kalin is recommending me for speaking opportunities. Marcus is connecting me to his network of founders who actually built something. Chosen family versus blood family. The difference has never been sharper. Eleanor returns to the table, followed by Arthur. Meredith finally sets her phone down, pleased with her documentation of my downfall. Walk me to my car? Arthur asks. Not really a question. Outside, the parking lot smells like wealth, new leather, imported cologne, and that distinct scent of privilege that clings to high-priced things. Valets weave between cars worth more than most people earn in a year. Arthur's Mercedes waits under a light, glossy black paint reflecting our shapes back at us. In a warped mirror, he turns toward me. His expression softens into something he likely thinks appears fatherly. This is for your own good, Rebecca. One day you'll thank me. The night air is cool. I can hear other families leaving the club, laughter, car doors. The normal sounds of people who haven't just staged an intervention over creme brulee. I already do, Dad. I meet his eyes. You taught me exactly what I needed to learn. Confusion crosses his face. He's searching my tone for sarcasm or resentment. He won't find any. I mean it. Every word. He taught me I was on my own. He taught me that some people will never recognize your value, no matter how much you accomplish. He taught me that one of the greatest freedoms is realizing you don't need someone's approval after all. Lessons worth $8.5 million. Good. He clears his throat. Austin will be good for you. New perspectives. I nod. Let him believe it. Back inside, Eleanor is calling Rebecca's college friends. I see her phone to her ear, her face set in concerned mother mode, already explaining the intervention, controlling the story before I can share my own. Meredith is typing something on her laptop now, probably drafting her LinkedIn post about supporting struggling family members, about the value of tough love and family principles. They're closing ranks, rewriting history, ensuring everyone hears their version before mine can be told. I take out my phone and start documenting. Screenshots of the WhatsApp messages, a voice memo marking the time and place of Arthur's parking lot speech, photos of a check, the ticket, The velvet box. Evidence. Data. Proof. Let them think they've won. Let them control their narrative for now. I'm building mine carefully, step by step, recording everything, creating a paper trail they'll never realize exists. Sunday night, I'll board a plane, just not the one they bought. Monday morning, Forbes will run a story they weren't expecting. 48 hours until detonation. Until their carefully crafted narrative unravels in a way they can't control, edit, or explain. I return to the table. Eleanor is crying again. Meredith is strategizing her social media posts. And I'm smiling, truly smiling, because they've just handed me the greatest gift, the freedom of having nothing left to prove. Sunday morning light filters through my apartment, catching dust motes from the 2 open suitcases on my bed. I fold a thrift store sweater when the doorbell rings, unannounced, just like Eleanor. I check the peephole. There she is, Starbucks cup in hand, her Sunday brunch outfit perfectly pressed. Darling, I thought you might need help packing. She steps past me before I can answer, her eyes already scanning my apartment like a home inspector. Moving feels overwhelming. Overwhelming. As if I haven't coordinated 3 international shipping containers and a corporate relocation package in the last week, I gesture toward the suitcases. Just finishing up. Eleanor sets her coffee on my counter, no coaster. She picks up my Stanford diploma from the pile by the suitcase, tracing the frame with a manicured finger. You won't need your diplomas in Austin, dear. Fresh starts mean leaving everything behind. The diploma is a duplicate, the original shipped to Chicago on Tuesday. You're right, Mom. I take it from her and set it back down. Fresh start. New beginning. Her smile blooms, genuine this time. I'm so glad you understand. She moves to my closet, pulling out my interview blazer, the navy wool, tailored one. This is far too formal for Austin's casual culture. That blazer is already in my Chicago penthouse closet. This one, $19 from Goodwill yesterday. I was thinking the same thing, I say, folding it carefully into the suitcase. Eleanor watches as I pack thrift store jeans and clearance blouses, every piece deliberately chosen to mimic my real wardrobe. She nods approvingly at each choice, satisfied I'm dismantling my life correctly. Your father and I are so proud of how you're handling this, she says, perching on the bed's edge, careful not to wrinkle her linen pants. Not every young woman has the maturity to accept guidance with such grace. Grace, that's her word for surrender. My phone buzzes. Eleanor glances at it, but I'm faster. It's Julian Vance's assistant confirming my furniture delivery to Chicago. I silence it without reading. Just the airline, I tell her. Confirming my flight. Good. She stands, smoothing imaginary wrinkles. I'll drive you to the airport tomorrow. Make sure you get off safely. There it is. Not concern, but verification. She wants to watch me board, see the plane door close, confirm the exile is complete. Very thoughtful, Mom. Her coffee sits abandoned on the counter, lipstick on the rim. She didn't come for coffee. After she leaves, I sit on the bed amongst suitcases full of someone else's clothes. The Austin boarding pass rests on my nightstand, bought with my credit card, printed at home. It will never be scanned. My real flight to Chicago leaves 3 hours later, different airline, different terminal. The symmetry of it all makes me smile. They taught me the skill, how to present one reality while living another, how to show people exactly what they expect. I've just mastered it better than they ever could. Monday morning, Arthur sends us email at precisely 8:30 a.m. I see it arrive on my phone while waiting at O'Hare's Gate B-17 for my Chicago boarding call. The subject line, family update. The message is concise. Rebecca has moved to Austin for a fresh perspective. We believe this change will offer valuable clarity for her future. Valuable clarity. His code for cutting me out. The email is sent to his entire professional network, 200 contacts built over 3 decades. Every investor, client, and board member. The unspoken message is clear. Don't support her, don't hire her, don't answer her calls. I sip my second coffee as Eleanor's Instagram post pops up, a family photo celebrating Meredith's Yale graduation. The 3 of them perfectly posed. I'm cropped out so cleanly, it's as if I never existed. Caption reads, our little Yale Law Review star. So proud of Meredith's accomplishments. Family first. Proud mom. 37 likes in 5 minutes. 20 minutes later, Meredith posts an Instagram story. My apartment door closed, the empty parking space where my car used to be, overlaid in that cutesy script font. When siblings choose different paths. Wishing her well. 300 views already. They're not just excluding me, they're erasing me. My boarding group is called. I silence my phone and gather my carry-on. The Austin flight has already departed from the other terminal. Eleanor probably watched it taxi away, thinking I was on it. The flight attendant scans my ticket. Welcome aboard, Ms. White. Chicago awaits. My corner office at AgriCorp's. My penthouse overlooking Lake Michigan. A new life built from their dismissal. The plane hums to life. At 9 a.m. Eastern, the Forbes article goes live. Somewhere over Indiana, my phone vibrates so hard it nearly slides across the tray table. Airplane Wi-Fi is slow, but the headline appears clearly. AgriCorp acquires revolutionary AgTech startup TerraSense for $8.5 million. Subheading: 3-year-old founder Rebecca White's irrigation algorithm set to transform sustainable agriculture. My professional headshot dominates the screen, the one Professor Kalin insisted I take last month. Not cropped. Not erased. Front and center. The article covers everything. The Callaway grant, the catastrophic farm test, the algorithm rewrite, the acquisition details, my new title, Director of Sustainable Development at AgriCorp. I refresh LinkedIn. Professor Kalin's post appeared 6 minutes earlier. Proud of my student Rebecca White. True innovation happens when brilliant minds refuse to accept failure as final. Congratulations on the TerraSense acquisition. 43 shares already. Stanford's official account posts 5 minutes later. A photo from the grant ceremony, me holding the oversized check, Professor Kalin smiling beside me. Caption: Congratulations to Stanford Environmental Science alum Rebecca White on the successful acquisition of TerraSense by AgriCorp. Making a difference in sustainable agriculture. AgriCorp's announcement went live at exactly 9 a.m. Professional. Polished. Welcoming. Highlighting the algorithm's efficiency and my leadership role in the new Sustainable Development Division. Marcus' Twitter thread begins simply, honored to work with visionary founder Rebecca White on TerraSense. Watching brilliant minds solve impossible problems never gets old. The counter-narrative builds itself. Organic. Honest. Unstoppable. Meanwhile, Arthur's assistant keeps trying to reach him. Harrison Blackwood's office calls the house. Eleanor's charity board president leaves multiple voicemails. I picture Arthur in his office, his assistant showing him the Forbes article on her iPad. His face drains of color. His phone rings. Harrison Blackwood, calling personally. Arthur, why didn't you mention Rebecca's company? I would have invested $8.5 million. That algorithm could transform precision agriculture. Eleanor, at her Monday tennis lesson, notices her phone lighting up with messages from her charity board president. Delighted, Eleanor. We had no idea Rebecca was in technology. Could she speak at our spring gala? Our donors would be fascinated. Meredith, in her Yale Law Library study room, notices classmates approaching with confused smiles. Your sister sold her company? Why didn't you mention TerraSense? The family WhatsApp group erupts. I had disabled notifications yesterday, but now check. 37 new messages. Confused relatives. Congratulatory cousins. Awkward questions about why no one knew. Aunt Patricia. Rebecca sold her startup? For millions. Cousin Bradley. Wait, Rebecca's a tech executive now. Uncle Richard. Why are we just hearing about this? The narrative collapses in real time. Every careful omission, every dismissive comment, every cropped photo, all suddenly suspect. I save the Forbes article to my phone, screenshot Professor Kalin's LinkedIn post, archive AgriCorp welcome announcement. Evidence. Documentation. Proof. By the time my plane lands at O'Hare, I have 43 missed calls, 16 voicemails, 62 texts, mostly from numbers I haven't heard in years. 3 from Arthur's office, 7 from Eleanor, 12 from Meredith. I don't check any of them. Not yet. My Chicago driver waits at arrivals, name displayed on a tablet. Professional. Efficient. Nothing like Eleanor's suffocating surveillance. Welcome to Chicago, Miss White. The skyline rises ahead. My new beginning, built on their dismissal. Let them scramble. Let them call. I'm already gone. The letter arrives a Tuesday morning, 2 weeks after direct contact stopped. AgriCorp, General Counsel forwards it, subject line bitter, legal matter requiring your attention. I open the PDF in my Chicago office. Lake Michigan stretches gray and calm beyond my window. The letterhead is Whitmore and Associates, the firm Arthur uses for his sharpest negotiations. Formal demand for settlement regarding TerraSense intellectual property. The language is precise, calculated. Arthur's handiwork, dressed in legal terminology. They claim fiduciary interest in TerraSense, citing family investment during its development and creation of intellectual property while I was a dependent in the family home. The $5,000 check is now considered seed funding, establishing an equity stake. Their demand, 30% of the acquisition price, $2.55 million. Or litigation. I read it twice. The audacity sits heavy in my throat. They handed me that check at the country club as if it were charity, severance for the family disappointment. Now it's venture capital. Now it's ownership. The phone on my desk lights up. Julian Vance, from the executive suite upstairs. Rebecca, his voice steady with the controlled frustration of a CEO protecting assets. I assume you've seen the letter. Just now. Our lawyers say it's baseless. Your IP documentation is airtight, but they're making noise through back channels. He pauses. Eleanor White contacted 2 of our board members yesterday. Concerned calls about family disputes and your stability. My jaw tightens. Of course she did. Eleanor knows which threads to pull. Meredith is drafting an op-ed, Julian continues. Something about startup ethics and family obligations. Her Yale credentials give it weight she doesn't deserve. I close my eyes. Coordinated assault. Arthur applying legal pressure, Eleanor mobilizing her social network, Meredith shaping the public narrative. The same synchronized performance from the country club, scaled to match higher stakes. What do you need from me? I ask. Nothing yet. Our PR team is drafting a response, vague but firm. We protect our people, Rebecca. His tone softens, almost paternal. But I need to know if there's any validity to their claim. Any verbal agreements. Any family money in development. None. I have documentation for every dollar, the Callaway grant, my savings. Nothing from them. Good. Relief colors his voice. Then we let the lawyers handle it. After the call, I sit staring at that letter. At the reposition $5,000 dotted Arthur's signature. On the firm's authorization, my phone buzzes. A message from Professor Kalin. Seeing some chatter online. You okay? I don't reply. I open Twitter instead. Tech Twitter has caught the story. AgriCorp PR release went out an hour ago, carefully worded about baseless attempts to exploit a young founder. The responses are rallying around me, highlighting the family dynamics. People share their own experiences of relatives who appeared only after success. Someone dug up Meredith's Instagram posts, the ones she deleted after Forbes. Screenshots are circulating, annotated with commentary on hypocrisy. Her Yale Law Review colleagues are distancing themselves through careful, professional quote tweets, clarifying they don't endorse her upcoming piece. Arthur's reputation is unraveling in real time. Investment blogs question his judgment. Colleagues wonder how he failed to recognize his own daughter's potential. I should feel vindicated, but I don't. Instead, I feel the weight of what they're willing to sacrifice to get what they want. Their credibility, their professional relationships, the remnants of our family. All for 30% of something they deemed worthless 6 months ago. I forward Arthur's demand letter to my personal email and read it again on my phone. Their legal argument relies entirely on one check, their seed funding, given during development, the check I never cashed. Opening my banking app, I see the check still in my deposit queue. Photographed but never processed. $5,000 from Arthur White. Memo line. Fresh Start Fund. Not TerraSense Investment. Not seed capital. Fresh Start Fund. Their own documentation undermines their claim. I could show AgriCorp lawyers this image, dismantle Arthur's argument in filings and depositions, but that would still be playing their game. I tap deposit check. 30 seconds of loading. Transaction successful. $5,000 deposited. I screenshot the confirmation. Timestamp, memo line, all details. Hand steady. I forward the screenshot to AgriCorp General Counsel. For your records. Full payment received and accepted. Then I draft a new email direct to Arthur's lawyer, CCing Arthur, Eleanor, and Meredith. Subject: Your client's final payment. Body: Attached is my acknowledgement of your client's payment. Thank you for finalizing this matter. All future correspondence can be directed to my legal counsel. I attach the screenshot, the deposited check. Their investment accepted as exactly what it was. Payment, severance, the cost of my exile. My finger hovers over send. I think about being 8 at the science fair, Meredith's piano recital, the years of sacrifice, the lifetime of being the daughter who understood compromise. I press send. The email disappears into the void. 30 seconds later, 3 red receipts: Arthur, Eleanor, Meredith. The silence that follows is absolute. I open contacts: Arthur white block, Eleanor white block, Meredith white block. My phone feels lighter. Outside, Lake Michigan catches the afternoon sun. The water turns silver. A sailboat cuts across the horizon, heading toward something I cannot see. I save their letter, the demand, the threat, everything documented. But this time, documentation isn't defense, it's victory. They taught me to keep records, to be meticulous, to prove everything. They never imagined I'd turn those lessons against them. 6 months later, morning light pours through the floor-to-ceiling windows of my Chicago penthouse, turning Lake Michigan into hammered silver. I sip coffee from the mug Professor Kalin sent me. Data doesn't lie, faded on its side. My TerraSense Innovator Award sits half-hidden on a bookshelf behind industry journals. I didn't hang it, it's unnecessary. Photos of my AgriCore team now replace what were once family portraits in my old apartment. People who actually see me when they look at my face. My calendar alerts ping-point 3 meetings today. All important. Each with people who value what I've built, not the name I carry. The framed check hangs in my powder room. $5,000. Preserved under glass, a reminder of the punchline it became. Guests always ask about it. I tell them it's a symbol. The best investments are the ones people make in themselves. Tonight is AgriCore holiday party. I'm speaking about failure and recovery, how a catastrophic crop test in Fresno taught me more than any success could. Young engineers need to understand that brilliance isn't avoiding mistakes, it's documenting them carefully enough never to repeat them. The venue glows with tasteful holiday decor, ambient lighting, and the polished feel of corporate celebrations. I'm mid-story about rewriting the algorithm when I notice him moving through the crowd. Harrison Blackwood, Arthur's most important client. The man who compared me to garden staff at the charity gala. He waits until I finish applauding, then extends his hand. Miss White, Harrison Blackwood, I heard your presentation at the AgTech Summit last spring. Remarkable work. I shake his hand. Firm. Respectful. He has no memory of our prior encounter. The room hums around us. But that old tension, the childhood need for family validation, rises briefly, then fades quietly. Harrison launches into questions about soil sensors and predictive modeling. Smart, informed, precise. He sees the algorithm, not the dust on my boots. Later, back in my office, I update my calendar. Monthly mentorship call with Professor Kalin tomorrow. Scholarship committee meeting for my Unlikely Innovators Fund at Stanford on Thursday. The fund supports students whose families don't understand their work, students who need someone to believe in their data before they believe in themselves. Therapy is Wednesday. Still processing. Still learning that systematic devaluation leaves marks even algorithms cannot erase. A young intern hesitates at my door. Maya, brilliant at systems architecture, uncertain about everything else. Miss White, do you have a minute? I wave her in. My family doesn't get what I do here. They keep asking when I'll get a real job. Did that ever happen to you? I close my laptop and give her my full attention. Sometimes distance is the greatest gift you can give yourself, I tell her. Not out of anger, out of preservation. Her shoulders relax. You're doing real work here, Maya. Trust your data. She leaves lighter than she arrived. I recognize that walk. I used to have it too. Christmas Eve arrives with snow that barely sticks. My phone shows 47 missed calls from numbers I unblocked but archived. I listen to the last voicemail. Eleanor crying. Really crying. We miss Rebecca. Please. It's Christmas. I archive it without responding. My chosen family arrives at 7. Professor Kalen brings wine. Julian shares stories from the latest board meeting. Others from AgriCorps filter in, bringing food, laughter, and the easy comfort of people who chose each other. We eat. We talk. Nobody asks about my real family. Later, washing dishes, I catch my reflection in the dark window. Lake Michigan stretches behind me, vast, indifferent, beautiful. Same face they tried to erase. Same person they measured and found wanting. Still here. Still building. Still growing. Thank you for the seed money, I think. You taught me I could grow anywhere. Even in exile. Especially in exile. The silence I've earned settles around me like cashmere. Warm. Deserved. Mine.